Hello, all my beautiful souls. I am so excited to be back with another masterclass for you. Some of you guys are watching on Facebook right now. So if you're in Facebook, I actually don't have access to the chat or the comment section. Um, so leave them in the chat anyways. And then after the live session, I will go back and slide into the comments and respond back, and it's going to be amazing. So, what I want to do before we really dive into this information is I want to give you a chance to drop into your body. I want to give you a chance to kind of focus and gather your thoughts, become more mindfulness, and just ultimately really allow the downloads and the reframes that are going to happen during these next 15 minutes to really just enter into your soul. And so I want you to begin by bringing your attention to your body. I want you to close your eyes, get in a comfortable position, and notice your body and any feelings of weight, any feeling of tension, any feeling of stress or anxiety. Just locate it and place your heart, place your hand, place your breath all into that location. So go ahead and take a couple deep breaths and really hone into what you are feeling right now. I love it. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, livening your body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxation entering your body into a deeper level. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. And notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor. Notice your back, your butt, your pelvic sitting on the chair, the weight and the pressure, the vibration, the heat. You can notice your legs against the chair. Notice any pulsating, heaviness, lightness. Bring your attention into your stomach area. And if your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. And then take a deep breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands feeling tense, tight? Can you allow them to soften? Notice your arms and feel any sensation in your shoulders. Allow them to relax. Do you notice any tension in your throat? Let it be soft and relax. Soften your jaw. Let your facial expressions and your facial muscles soften as well. Then notice your whole body being present. And go ahead and take one more deep breath. And be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Take another deep breath, and when you're ready, we'll begin. Awesome. So today we are going to be focusing on the feminine codes, right? And the funny thing is that the feminine codes are for men and women. We all have a feminine archetype. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. And the really beautiful thing with this or with these archetypes is that they truly allow you to be the best of the best. They truly allow you to bring abundance and love and joy into your life. And they truly allow you to be at a level of gratitude and joy that we're constantly not really living in, or at least aware of. And so the 5 archetypes that I am going to teach you today are the luxury loving goddess, or this is the person that I always say is the orgasm claiming badass, right? So this is the person that finds joy and pleasure and desire in everything that they do. And then I'm going to share about the house maiden. So this is the person that is being the torchbearer. They are breaking generational traumas. They are standing firm in their foundations. They're pretty much saying like, fuck societal norms. Like, I'm going to live life on my terms, and anyone who is meant to be in my life will accept that. And anyone who doesn't accept that, well, they can kick rocks. Then that leads us to the Dom of Life, right? So this is your dark feminine energy. So the luxury loving goddess or the orgasm claiming badass, that is the light side of your feminine energy. The dark feminine energy or the Dom of Life is your dark side, right? So this is the person that loves the shadows. This is the person that embraces the limiting beliefs. This is the person that is playful and wants to really make fun of all of the negative thoughts that you're having. And I'll kind of dive more into that because right now I see some faces and you're like, wait, what? That makes zero sense. And then it leads us to the womb priestess. So the womb priestess or the womb priest, this is the individual who is completely flowing in life. So I kind of like to think of this person as water. They're anti-hustle and grind. They are anti-masculine energy. They allow pause within your day. So this is the side of you that is like, you need to take a breath, you need to take a beat, and you need to actually live life on your terms and know that it is okay to not have to do it all to be successful. And then the last one that we'll dive into is the medicine mystic. So the medicine mystic is the person who knows their power, they know their truth, they know the results that are going to come with it. This is kind of like society would consider this part of you as the conceited type, right? So the one that's full of yourself, the one that is like, you know what? I know I can be it all. I know I can do it all. And super confident version of you that society is like, hold on, maybe you're like too full of yourself. Maybe you're too prideful. Like, we need to tone it down. Like, you need to actually amplify this person because this is the person that's going to allow you to move and flow through your day with ease, with confidence, and allow you to continue to stay motivated to live the life that you truly desire. And that's what we're all here for, right? So before I really dive into these 5 different archetypes, I want you to kind of think of setting the intention of how do you desire to feel, right? So how do you desire to feel after this course, after this class? Where is it located in your body when you think of that feeling? Is it in your heart? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your throat? Is it in your brain? Where do you locate that feeling? What chakra is it located in? And how do you act when that feeling arises? Do you kind of feel tense and feel like that's not really possible? Or are you kind of like, you know what? Like, I actually want to feel this more often. And then I want you to think about the person you were when you were between the age of 4 to 14. Because a lot of people don't realize that between the age of 4 to 14, that is your desired self. That is the person that we're usually trying to go back to becoming. And so I want you to kind of think of who that person was. For me, I know I was free flowing. I didn't give two shits about life. I was a total tomboy. Most of my friends were guys. I was completely anti girly girl, and anything that was trying to fit me into a box, I was like, skirt, not having it, not doing it. I don't want to be a part of it. And then over time, right? 15, 16, you start to enter high school, and the drama, the bullying, the limiting beliefs, the labeling, all of that starts to take into place. And so what was happening is from 4 to 14, I was living outside of my box. I was living a life I truly desired. I entered into high school, and all of a sudden I realized that, like, oh, I actually kind of have to mold into what I believed I had to be in order to fit into high school. Right. And I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. Is so often we are constantly contorting our templates, right? We're constantly manipulating and designing who we think we need to be. I kind of think of it like build a person workshop, right? We're constantly rebuilding ourselves to fit into societal expectations when in reality, we have to build the reality we desire, and we have to allow the people who deserve to be in that reality to mold to what they need to be to fit into our reality. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and start with the first archetype. The first archetype we're going to dive into is the luxury loving goddess, or the orgasm claiming badass. So, as we talk about this archetype, I want you to reflect what words or feelings come to mind. Okay. So, as I'm like teaching you about this archetype, ask yourself these, like, that question, like, what feeling comes to mind? What word comes to mind when you start to hear these descriptions? And so, as I mentioned in the beginning, the orgasm claiming badass, or the luxury loving goddess, however you want to receive that, they find luxury in everything. They find pleasure in everything, right? This is the person that wakes up every day and is like, oh my God, I am so grateful it's Monday. It's about to be a kick-ass day. They are the person that is finding pleasure in the mundane, right? So just brushing their teeth, they're like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing. My mouth is about to be clean. I'm going to take an amazing shower. The water is about to penetrate my soul, and all of the things, right? Like, they are completely cracked open by life. And what that does is, by finding pleasure in the mundane, by finding luxury and desire in those little parts of life, they are actually teaching you how to be like, of course, like, fuck yes, more please, when things actually go your way, right? Because you're constantly living in the highest frequency of gratitude and joy and love. Right? There is no frequency that is higher than love, gratitude, and joy. So by constantly living in the state of gratitude and finding appreciation and pleasure in everything you do, literally everything you do, it's almost like, of course, this is going to happen. Of course, this is going to be the way of living. Of course, this is going to be the way of feeling, because you're attracting more love. You're attracting more joy. You're attracting more abundance, and you become a magnet of that abundance. You become a magnet of what you actually want to bring into your life, which are the luxury things, right? So, for instance, I had a client who I challenged her for 24 hours, find pleasure in everything you do. Okay. So what she did is she desired to have first class flights. She's like, I'm constantly traveling for work. I want to be able to travel first class at least once in my entire existence. And so what she started to do is she started to find pleasure and desire and luxury in sitting in economy. And she was being bougie as fuck with it. She would show up into economy with like a full blown like face mask on her face. She would have like an eye mask. She would have her hair in curlers. She would have the pillows and the blankets and everything, right? And people were looking at her like she was crazy, right? Obviously, sitting in economy, people were like, who is this person? What is she doing? Like, she's doing a face mask on the plane. Like, what the fuck? And what happened is, after 2 to 3 flights of her living in that state of like, I'm going to treat economy like first class, she was actually able to attract more financial abundance to be able to afford that first class flight. And now flying first class is a non-negotiable for her. So that is the same thing that you can do, is if you are doing things and you're like, oh, I hate work. Oh, I hate driving in traffic. How can you make it luxurious for you? How can you make it pleasurable for you? How can you make it desirable for you, so that you can start to attract the things that you actually want, right? You have to constantly live and affirm that you are luxury, you are worthy, and you are enough. And so I challenge you for the next 24 hours to find luxury and pleasure and desire in everything you do. Start bringing the theatrics of life, right? Be extra dramatic with it and see what happens. And if you attract the thing that you truly desire, I want you to like reach out to me and share that story with me, because this is going to be your accountability piece. This is going to be your accountability piece, so that you can actually start to live, love, and be in complete appreciation of your existence. So, archetype number 2, okay, the Dom of life. We're going to start dominating our life. Yes. So think of like BDSM, right? Submissive and dominant. That is what I want you to start to think of life as. You are the dominatrix and life is the submissive. Okay. And these are the people that aren't afraid of their shadows. And so when I talk about shadows, these are the parts of you that you actually try to hide, whether those are kinks, whether those are fetishes, whether that is like a guilty pleasure you have, or even limiting beliefs like childhood trauma, adulthood trauma, breakups, whatever that is, the things that you try to keep in your shadows, right? The things you kind of try to keep in the dark and in the closet, and you're like, oh my gosh, I hope no one finds out about this. That's the part of you that you're like, oh my gosh, I love that part of me, right? You're not afraid of embracing that part of you. You're not afraid of getting your needs met. You're not afraid of communicating what you actually desire. You love all aspects of yourself, right? So this is that unconditional self-love that I'm constantly preaching about. And this is the dark side of you, right? So the orgasmic claiming badass, like this is the part that's like pleasure and light and brightness. And then the dom of life is the dark, the shadow. I almost say the vampire version of yourself. This is the person that is fully expressed. This is the person that is playful and embraces everything you do, right? So if you think of it on a sexual level, if you're the dom within your partner, right? So in this situation, your partner is your life, is your existence. You're playing, right? You're whipping, you're spanking, you're tying things up, right? You're in complete control. That is how you have to look at life. You get turned on by your limiting beliefs. So I ask you, what limiting beliefs or what shadows are you currently working on? What shadows or limiting beliefs are you trying to overcome? And then I want you to take that shadow or that limiting belief and have fun with it. Right? So for me, I just had a baby. And so I'm in the most primal stage of existence right now during postpartum. And obviously, during postpartum, everyone's like, oh my gosh, the baby's so cute. You post all the pretty family photos and everything, right? Everybody wants to romanticize the postpartum part. But in reality, like postpartum is gross, it's disgusting, you're bleeding, you're leaking, you're doing all the things. And no one wants to talk about that part. And so for me, I almost had to like, I was like cracking jokes with myself. I was like, oh my gosh, how adorable is it that I find myself as this gross, hideous human being because I'm bleeding, because my boobs are leaking. Like, that is so adorable, Cheyenne. Like, I cannot believe that you actually care enough about that. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, you're right. Like, it's normal. I just gave birth. Like, I'm a total badass. I created life. Like, yeah, it's funny as hell that I think the postpartum part makes me this disgusting, unattractive person. Like, no, it actually makes me more attractive because it's proof of the life I created. For your dom of life to be activated, you have to be able to look at life in a playful way. So almost never take it serious so that you can disarm yourself, right? You have to bring lightness to the darkness. You have to bring lightness to the shadow. If all the lights go out, if your electricity goes out, are you just going to sit in the darkness? No, you're going to go find a flashlight. That is what you're doing as the Dom of Light. You're providing that flashlight while all of the lights are out. And you're choosing to alchemize your emotions. You're choosing to alchemize the limiting beliefs. You're choosing to be okay with those negative thoughts rather than being like, why am I having these? I shouldn't be having them. This is how you take your power back, right? This is how you take your power back. So if you're a person that's constantly trying to seek approval from others, how do you take your power back? By telling yourself you're choosing to seek approval, right? How does it feel? How does it feel to hear that? You choose to make that choice. You choose to feel that limiting belief. You choose to have those thoughts. You choose to look for that external validation. Choose your choices. Don't let your choices choose you. I always say have wisdom over wounds. How can you look at your pain as power? How can you look at your pain as a motivator for you to amplify your existence? How can you gain control of yourself? Individuals who are tamed in life, individuals who try to fit in the society boxes with the labels and the expectations and all the things that society tries to throw at you, those individuals, I call them tamed. They're tamed, right? They're the ones that are like, I don't want to go outside the edges. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Those are the people that choose to be in the box that society placed them in. I'm here to give you permission to break down the fucking box and not live in the box that society is placing you in. And so, what I want you to do as your accountability piece for this archetype is I want you to think of the shadows that you are going to alchemize within this week. What shadows are you going to alchemize within this week for you? And share it. Share it with me. Share it on social media. Make sure you tag me in it. I want to be a part of your truth telling. And then this leads me to the third archetype, the medicine mystic. Or you can even call her like the medicine mother, because this is truly the mothering part of your existence. This is the person who stands firm in her power, who owns their gift, who owns his gift. They know their worth. They know the results that are coming from them just being them. By you showing up in the real, raw, acoustically aligned version of you, you are going to be able to attract people who really love you for you. But if you're constantly showing up as a Halloween costume, wearing all these masks for different people, how are they ever going to know what the real you is? So think of this as the parenting part of you, right? Giving yourself permission to live free, giving yourself permission to calm and soothe your wounds. This is also your biggest hype person. This is the person and the side of you that's like, you know what? You got this. Know your value, know your worth. And so I ask you, where do you devalue yourself? Where do you devalue yourself? Where do you play smaller than what you're actually capable of playing? Where do you limit yourself because you're afraid of ruffling any feathers? Where do you need some parenting and some self-love to give yourself permission to be free? And so for this part of the session, I want to ask you, how can you start to implement that knowingness? How can you start to implement the knowingness that you came here to be, that you came to know to be true? And what do you have to shift so that it no longer moves with you? Right? So this is a two-piece. How can you start to implement that knowingness, the truth? Yes, forgiving yourself, loving yourself. And then the shift you have to have in order to embody that, right? How do you let go of the masks? How do you finally say, you know what? I'm dropping all of this armor. I'm taking off my Halloween costume and I am finally going to be me. And then this leads us to the womb priest or the womb priestess. And so these are the people that are, how am I going to say this? The person that is ready to, you know what, scratch that. We're going to drop to, I want you to understand that these archetypes, they are meant to prioritize time, right? They are meant to prioritize creativity. And I'm just channeling some deep energy right now that's coming up from the room and the individuals watching. Because that's what happens here. It happens. You channel in the energy, you take what is being given and you give it back. And so the main takeaway before we do our last embodiment session together and I let you go is making neutrality your prime, right? So being the house maiden of your life. Prioritize the time, prioritize the creativity. Allow neutrality to be prime and have this mentality of I am it all. Because when all 5 of the archetypes, the womb priestess, the house maiden, the dom of light, the orgasmic claiming badass, the medicine mother, when all of them come together, you embody your truth. You embody that internal knowing. You understand that there is nothing to be fixed. You are not broken. You decide to choose the easy. You know that you are it all. And there's no effort because you are just showing up as you. Did you know there's more effort and more energy that goes into putting on these fake personas than if you were to just show up authentic? Think of it like putting on makeup, right? And if you don't wear makeup, I hate makeup. I don't got the time for it. But if you know somebody and you've seen somebody put on makeup and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like who has all that time to spend an hour putting on foundation and contouring their face and doing the eyelashes and doing the brows and doing this and doing that and doing all the things, right? And there are some people out there that when they're done with their makeup, they look like a totally different person. Right? And those people, they're usually the individuals that are constantly having to do their makeup because if they don't wear makeup one day, people aren't going to recognize them. So are you living life constantly having to contour your existence, your appearance, your presence? You have to hold your vibration. And by tapping into all of these archetypes, by awakening all of these archetypes, you're holding your vibration. You're never going to meet people where they are at. You're going to empower people to level the fuck up so that you can empower them to be a better version of you, of them, right? So if I'm here, I'm not going to meet my friends at their level. I'm going to continue to amplify my life, my leadership, my existence. And they can either learn to level themselves up so that we can match the energy and grow together. Or it's going to be one of those things where you love them from a distance and you bless and release and be like, you know what? I love you, but I think we're outgrowing each other, and that's okay. I know I'm not going to put you in a place because I know you can't hold, like, you don't have the capacity to hold space for what I need, for the desires I need to be having met. And by you being real and raw with those people in your life, you're going to empower them. And you're going to empower yourself and tell yourself that it is okay to let people go. You have to purge and remove the thoughts and the people and the things from your life that are no longer serving you. And you use the Dom of life to do that. You use the womb priestess to do that. You use the house maiden to do that, the medicine mother to do that, the orgasmic claiming badass to do that. So ask yourself, how can you normalize these things in your life? What do you know to be true already? What is your truth? So for the last couple minutes, I want you to let everything I've said enter and channel and embody you right now. Allow yourself to receive it. So go ahead and close your eyes real quick. Place your hands on your heart or your chest. If you feel like some chokeness or like your throat is closing, you can go ahead and put your hands on your throat. Give yourself permission to open it up. And I want you to realize that the heart, your solar plexus, this is the magnet for love. This is the magnet for gratitude and joy and abundance. This is the most powerful and tangible vibrational part of your body. So drop into that, drop into your heart, drop into your solar plexus, and just tell yourself, I am safe. I am secured. I am luxury. I am desired. I am worthy. I am enough. I know, I am, and I be it all. Go ahead and give your heart 3 little love taps. And take a big inhale in and hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. Awesome. I love it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this amazing masterclass. Stay tuned with emails. If you're in the embodiment channel, you have lifetime access to this amazing piece. And if you have not joined the embodiment channel, make sure you join it so that you get lifetime access as well. And I hope you guys have the most amazing day. I would love to hear any feedback you have. So you can slide into my DMs on Instagram at _Cheyenne Williams. You can drop the comments in the Facebook community. Share your thoughts, share your wisdom, hold each other accountable. And let's really use these house play activities that I've given you to really amplify your existence. I love you guys.